So before we get started, this is like the unofficial start time. So I've been to a couple panels at MAGFest. Some presenters have been having a hard time feeding into the microphone. So if I'm too quiet, I welcome you to do this with your arms, and I will get real close to this guy. I can hear myself perfectly fine, but those in the back row can't say the same. So yeah, if at any point you're like, he's talking too quiet, throw up the X with the arms, and I'll be like, ha ha ha, I understand now. Because we're going to go through a lot of information, and I'm going to throw a lot at you. If you miss like a crumb, you're going to miss the whole loaf. So, cool. And with that, Metal Gear. All right. So, before we get started, what the heck is... So my name is Evan. I have been doing panels for other conventions for 5+ years, but this will be my first panel at MAGFest. So be a good time. We're all here together, this wonderful place. Who has never played a Metal Gear before? Please raise your hand. I am going to be intimidated by this. Who has played a Metal Gear game? Raise your hand. Oh no! The Smash Brothers. Maybe. So, those of you who have played Metal Gear, thank you for coming to this panel. You'll get some of the things that I'll say. If you have never played Metal Gear, let me start off by giving you. I am going to talk about some spoilers. You can't talk about a very complex story like the entirety of Metal Gear without getting into some spoiler territory. So Metal Gear Solid 2, Solid 3, and Solid 5, I'm going to be spoiling. 3 and 5 especially. 2, So just as a heads up. Before we get to those points, I'll kind of give like the other additional like, this is that moment. So yeah, with that in place, should probably have a timer so I'm not just constantly checking my swatch. Do-do-do. Shooba-dooba-doo. Cool, all right. So, hey guys, welcome. What is a Metal Gear and why is he a solid? So, I'm going to start off by kind of giving like a surface level description of the Metal Gear franchise from where it started. This guy. So this is a cardboard cutout that has been gently borrowed by the panelist after this about the Metal Gear movie and why it might not exist. So please stick around after this panel to watch that one. But we will reference this man. This is the creator of Metal Gear Solid franchise, Hideo Kojima. Mr. Hideo, Professor Kojima, I will refer to him very affectionately multiple times. So it all started with this guy. He looked at games around the time that Metal Gear 1 came out and said, these games are focused on a lot of fighting and a lot of action. What if I made a game that said, avoid combat? If you get into combat, you're actually going to have a harder difficulty. So Metal Gear, the first game, debuted in 1987 for the MSX2. It's a home console computer. I don't know if they have it in the museum, but Google exists. And it existed with these guys. So any game I talk about is going to be in the bottom left-hand corner over there. I'm going to say Metal Gear, Metal Gear 2. If you ever have a question to be like, oh, what game is that again? There you go. I'm going to condense Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 together just because I feel like the story kind of flows a little bit easier that way. These games are available to play through if you have Steam, if you get all the Metal Gear games through the Volume 1 collection. It also includes these two games. If you have a PS3 and an Xbox 360, you also get it through those ones. And the PlayStation 5? And the PlayStation 5, and the Xbox Series S and X and whatever.
And Subsistence.
And Subsistence. Wait, Subsistence has these two?
Yeah, that's where they originally had it.
Oh, shit.
That was the first time they got localized.
I gotta remember. I don't think this is a I can swear panel. Yeah, well, you can say that. I don't know if I can. So Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 were both on the MSX, and it features this guy right at the top. So this is Metal Gear 1 Snake. This is Metal Gear 2 Snake. The one on the left is actually from the original. Hideo Kojima is a huge movie buff. He loves pop media. He loves music, videos, movies. That is Solid Snake in the likeness of Mel Gibson. In the original version of Metal Gear 2, they actually had a scientist look like Albert Einstein. The villain in that game was as Sean Connery, but with an eye patch. So when the game re-released on Nintendo consoles, that's when they got a new illustrator to do some of the new art to make the characters a little bit more original and less Hollywood lover over here. So that's why we see these sprites in some modern versions of games. So this is Solid Snake. He is a member of Foxhound. Now, some of you may be thinking, oh, I know Foxhound, it's this guy. No, so this is actually the unit that Naked Snake, don't worry about it, was a part of, started by Major Tom. Don't worry about it. You may be thinking about this. No, this is XOF. This is the backup unit that's come to clean up after Fox unit. So these guys kind of don't like these guys, but these guys don't really know these guys exist. Don't worry about it. You may be thinking of this Foxhound. No, so this is the Foxhound logo that's a little bit from Metal Gear Solid 1 when it's kind of the bad guys. Snake was part of this Foxhound. So 1980s at its best, a very cartoony fox with a speeding bullet. I heard someone say tails, a lol. So the original Foxhound was this. The head of Foxhound was Big Boss. You, as Solid Snake in the first game, are besties. He's calling you to give you advice. I'm jumping ahead of myself. So Metal Gear, there is a system that you communicate with other NPCs called the codec. It has a lot of different variations throughout the games, but basically think of it like those FBI earpieces. It might be a nanotechnology, don't worry about it. But basically you radio in to your comrades. We've all seen like the two windows of just two characters talking to each other. If you've played Smash and I think taunted enough times, you'll also talk that way. So Big Boss is giving you advice. He's telling you, hey, be careful about mines. Hey, be careful about gas rooms. And then eventually he starts to take a turn in the first game and go, the mission's done. Like, you did it. You got out of jail. Great job. Go home. You must be very tired. Go home. Spoiler, Big Boss is actually bad. So he is actually running a area in the first and second game called Outer Heaven, and they're basically like a terrorist group with a nuke that threatens the peace and safety of the world, and Big Boss is at the head of that. Again, don't worry about it. So Snake saved the world from Big Boss threatening the world with Metal Gear twice. Now, some of you may be thinking, oh my God, he's been talking so much about the Snake guy. What Metal Gear, how many times is he going to say that? These are the first two Metal Gear within Metal Gear 1 and Metal Gear 2. So on the left-hand side here, we have the TX-55 Metal Gear. And then on the right, we have the Metal Gear D, that is D for Delta. Now, what is a Metal Gear? The definition of Metal Gear is a little bit fluid, depending on what game you play, but the idea of Metal Gear is it is a at least bipedal, nuclear-capable mech. The issue with nuclear-capable, bipedal, is nuclear silos. Everybody knows where they are. Intelligence can kind of be like, oh yeah, no, if something goes wrong, we know to aim here. Bipedal means mobile, and any target is within your range if you need it to be. That is why Big Boss was such a threat in the first 2 games, is because one man shouldn't have all that power. Then we're going to talk about Solid Snake. So we are now in what a lot of people are familiar with when they think of Metal Gear. We are in the Metal Gear Solid age of Metal Gear. So Metal Gear 1 and 2, then the third game is called Metal Gear Solid 1. Don't worry about it. So this is the Smash Brothers model. The original PS1 version is a little bit blocky, and I figured this would be fun to look at for a while. There is also a GameCube version that is called Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes. Now, a lot of people will say, what Metal Gear should I first play? My opinion is the original PS1 Metal Gear Solid. That is available through most modern video game consoles. The Metal Gear Collection 1, Volume 1, has Metal Gear Solid 1 as part of that on the original PS1. So the reason I don't say Twin Snakes, A, it's on GameCube, which it's really expensive to find. But then you've also got Hideo, really likes Hollywood, as we've been very clear about, and his shots in that game tended to be a little bit more energetic and taking the seriousness out of what is a serious story. So, for example, there's a character that is just made a joke of in Twin Snakes, but in Metal Gear Solid 1, he has some weight, he has goofy moments, but just to prove that he's human. So anyway, Solid Snake, voiced by David Hayter. Real name, David, no relationship. He is cloned from Naked Snake, the recessive genes. Don't worry about it. All you need to know that's very important is that he is cloned. So he came about from a project called Les Enfants Terribles. My French is poor. It's basically the terrible infants, terrible children. And it was a government project to clone the perfect soldier. This was a process of that to become Solid Snake. After Metal Gear 2, where this is the same character from Metal Gear 1 and 2, so after Metal Gear 2, he retired to be a dog musher. They pulled him out of retirement for Metal Gear Solid 1, which he loves talking about. And he is a constant flirt with the NPCs. So there is a character that saves your data, Mei Ling, flirts with her all the time. There is also someone that you can call just for like general information, flirts with her. You meet Meryl, you flirt with her. Just, having fun with it. He's the one from Fortnite. I know that's all what you care about, but he's the one from Fortnite. We love Fortnite V-Bucks. So that is Solid Snake in a nutshell. His bestie. This is Hal Emmerich. So this is what a lot of people refer to as Otacon. He's first seen pissing his pants. So this is what I mean by he is a human. So he is actively being threatened by a cyborg ninja who cut some guy's hand away. Normal shit that happens every day. And he's just like, yeah, what are you gonna do about it? Otacon says, this, piss. His name comes from, did I hit the right one? Come on, do it. Thank you. His name comes from his love of otaku conventions, which, playing recently with a friend, was always so fun to hear. Oh yeah, call me Otacon, because I love otaku conventions. And I'm like, this is from the 1990s? Come on, we're not that bad of nerds. He is a man full of tragedies. Tragedies including being seduced by his stepmother, his father finding out and drowning, being held hostage to make Metal Gear, the nuclear-capable weapon, and any woman that he's ever loved has died tragically. Familial love or romantic love. But yeah, just a sad man. A strong believer in boy dinner. At one point, you are stuck in a jail cell, and he goes, don't worry, I have resources for you. Here's a bottle of ketchup and Calorie Mate. You can eat these, right? So yeah, boy dinner. Guys, do you think love can bloom even on the battlefield? Just a sweetheart of a man. Throughout the series, you'll be like, who's this nerd? And then by the fourth game, you're like, that nerd! He's my boyfriend! So yeah, that is Otacon. Still Metal Gear Solid 1. He's in a lot of the future games. And Liquid. So this is Liquid Snake. His real name is Eli. He's cloned from Naked Snake. He's the dominant. Don't worry about it. So with genes, you've got dominant and recessive genes, and the whole point between Liquid and Solid is kind of like nature versus nurture. So Liquid Snake was given the dominant genes, but was told he was the recessive, and then Solid Snake, was given the recessive and told he was the dominant. He wasn't told. He was told by Liquid. But it's genetics and genes and all sorts of stuff. It's a constant thing within the Metal Gear franchise. So if you like Deus Ex Machinas, genes. You can't see it, but genes. So that first Foxhound logo, the one that looked a little bit more serious, not Fox, not XOF, the third one. Liquid Snake was the head of that, and then the kind of organization of bad guys during Metal Gear Solid 1. The Sons of Big Boss. Don't worry about that. He hated Naked Snake, and he also was only in 2 games. What a loser. So this is his 2 different appearances. So this is him in Metal Gear Solid 1, and this is him in Metal Gear Solid 5. Don't worry about it. But the hardest part is I'm not even talking about him being a loser. I'm talking about him being a loser. Hideo actually regretted killing Liquid Snake at the end of Metal Gear Solid 1. And you will find out what he did to kind of compensate with that. I hope you're ready for more BS. So the Metal Gear in Metal Gear Solid 1 is Rex. So this is, again, bipedal. He's got 2 of those pedals. Nuclear capable, manned machine. Just threatening. Really cool design. I think they make gunplas of these guys. They're so good. When you see one on the internet and you're like, no, that's actual mech. All right, so now a new character that we're going to talk about. This is Solid Snake. It's the same one. We're going on 3 for 3 with snakes. Great news, he's voiced by David Hayter. Totally the main character of Metal Gear Solid 2. He's on the cover, he's on the back, he's in the instruction manual. He's there, I promise, guys. He owns a bandana. Pause for oohs and ahs. You guys are awesome. On a stealth mission to feed his Metal Gear hyperfixation. So after Metal Gear Solid 1, him and Otacon, assuming you didn't kill Meryl, I think it still happens anyway, basically form an organization to hunt down other Metal Gears because it's a scary machine that no one individual group should have. Or government in Metal Gear Solid's 2 case. So you start out with Metal Gear Solid 2 in a oil tanker, and you're basically told, hey, we think that there's a Metal Gear here, but we don't know what it is, and we want you to find out. Please do it. And Solid Snake goes, okay. And he goes to do it. You can also take photos in your spare time. So you need photographic evidence of these Metal Gears, but you can just take photos of whatever, and Otacon will tell you. You can lock yourself in a locker with a poster of a attractive woman, lover of Hollywood, and take a photo of it, send it to Otacon, and he just goes, man, good on your own time. So it's a good time in that game. The Metal Gear in question is Metal Gear Rex. So Metal Gear Ray. My notes say made to combat the Rex model. So this actually is a rare instance of a non-nuclear capable Metal Gear. The main reason for that is, again, it's meant to combat the Rex model. It's basically like anti-Metal Gear. So there's I think the wiki said there are 4 different versions of this guy. So there's manned, unmanned, and then manned, and then unmanned. Don't worry about it. So some of you may be thinking, oh, cool, Ray looks, he looks scary. How scary is he? Those are America's cheeks. In the back, let me know if it's too loud or too quiet. Oh, there's no sound. It's playing through the projector? Dude, Windows, let's go. Great news. Do we want the speakers on the computer, or we keep going with what we got? I see an aux cord. Let's go, aux cords. Is this live too? I have multiple mics. All right. Y'all, I'm sorry if this is too loud. Can I? I can.
We have a problem.
It's time to drink water. It's time to drink water. So that is a water jet cutting through an oil tanker and just flooding it with water. Snake! Guys, meet Snake. So this is the mild spoiler for Metal Gear Solid 2. So this is the real main character of Metal Gear Solid 2. So the game is split into 2 sections. There is a tanker section, and then there's the big shell incident. When the game first came out, Hideo Kojima, lover of Hollywood, loved twists. And so the game was split into those 2 halves. The first half, if you kind of dilly-dally, you can basically reach the end of it after... Hello? Oh, is it the... I'll keep going. So the first half of the game you can get done in 4 to 5 hours. The second half of the game is actually 20, 30 hours. All the advertising featured Snake, Solid Snake, all the advertising on the box, on the posters. It was just get ready to play as Snake again. But you are. So Raiden isn't even a clone of any Snake. He's just a carbon copy of one. He's also known as Jack the Ripper. Don't worry about it. His favorite console is probably the Oculus Quest. So... the main story within Metal Gear Solid 2, one of the branching 5, is Raiden was trained to be the soldier that he was through VR by using Solid Snake's missions from Metal Gear 2, and Solid 1. So he hasn't really seen a lot of in-person combat, except for his traumatic childhood. We'll get to that. So he's kind of like a version of a soldier that has only seen simulations, and now he's being put into the battlefield. That's why he's just a Snake, because he believes that, yeah, that's my code name. I'm just like Solid Snake. I hope one day he becomes a whole-ass robot and pronounces the word doctor wrong like a real piece of shit. Weird. I don't know why I want that, but like, ooh, he just feels like he deserves it. So the Metal Gear within Metal Gear Solid 2 is this guy. So remember I said bipedal? So this is Arsenal gear. So this is basically like, the best way I can describe it is like a small UFO battleship. So this view is the top, this is the bottom, and then this is from the side. The idea with this is that this guy hosts a AI core looking to control communications through the internet. I don't remember what year off the top of my head Metal Gear Solid 2 came out, but it was kind of like when the internet was starting to like gain momentum. 2004? 2001. Oh, yeah, that's right. We'll get to that. I remember now. I understand. So this was when the internet was starting to like really kind of gain traction, and Hideo Kojima, famous prophet to a creepy level. For those of you who remember, he made Death Stranding in like 2018, 2019, and then the pandemic happened, where we needed to get delivery for everything, where we were sheltered from our entire habitats and everything. Weird how he predicts that stuff. So the idea with this is that there's too much communication. How many memes do we see on a daily basis? So Arsenal Gear is going to take those memes and make it the relevant good ones. So that way we all have a good idea of what it is to be who we are. Basically think of it like the man's controlling the media. That's kind of surface level. Hideo Kojima, famous Hollywood lover, loves to give you movies to watch while you're playing your video game. So cutscenes will last anywhere from like 5 minutes to an hour and a half. So no reason. So a lot of the story is told through cutscenes, which it's borderline a visual novel at that point. So yeah, again, I'm gonna say spoilers, but a lot of this is in the subcontext of the game. Please play it. Meet Iroquois Pliskin. Also voiced by David Hayter. He's part of the US military. He also seems to work with a dude named Otacon. And he constantly denies to be the legendary soldier Solid Snake. He's just a guy. He's just a dude. Looks like the dude. He died. Don't worry about it. Now this is Solid Snake. Definitely Solid Snake. Also calls himself Big Boss. Don't worry about it. He died. He also became the 43rd president in death. He lost an eye after a certain point and uses swords that have 2 controllable tentacles. Listen, Solid Snake, Hideo Kojima, wonderful Hollywood legend, you tell some weird stories sometimes. So yeah, Solid Snake kind of got a transformation. Everybody say hi, Solid Snake.
I'm the boss to surpass Big Boss himself. Solid Snake.
Hi.
No, that is not Solid Snake.
I played a goofy gaff. That's Solidus Snake. My favorite third state of matter. So, he's also a clone of Naked Snake. Don't worry about it. He is the perfect clone. So, DNA undistinguishable from Naked Snake, if that means like perfect. So they didn't, get in the alphabet soup and shamble things up. He is a one-to-one copy of Naked Snake. He also is Raiden's adopted dad. Yeah, weird, right? Also, 9/11 happened, kinda. So as we all heard a couple minutes ago, this game came out around 2001, 2002. So 9/11 happened, and during one of the final cutscenes, that massive Arsenal gear crashed into Manhattan, destroying the Statue of Liberty, and dialogue was changed because the villains also said, "We're going to plant a hydrogen bomb in Manhattan." doesn't look very good with the current state of affairs. And also at the end of the game, Snake posed with the Manhattan skyline, and they had to remove the Twin Towers from said skyline. Kind of like the Mario movie. They just, it happens sometimes. So, gotcha, guys. This is Solid Snake. Gotcha. Bet you feel stupid now. Solid Snake is alive and well. He is still not a playable character, but he still assists you through the game. He knows LGBT lingo. So there is a villain in the Metal Gear Solid 2 called Vamp. And his whole thing is he sucks blood. He is basically immortal, pale. So he's asked, why do they call him Vamp? Oh, because he sucks blood, right? No, he's bisexual. No reason, no context, just, no, he's bisexual. Write it, you dumb idiot. Come on. Ally, Jesus. By the way, remember that bandana that I mentioned from earlier? It's a infinite cheat of ammo. So if you beat the games, for the most part, if you beat the games within a certain amount of time with a certain rank, if you do a New Game Plus, you'll get a infinity bandana that gives all of your weapons just infinite bullets. Only if you get so many of the dog tags. But it's within the Metal Gear universe, and it's literally referenced in a cutscene where Raiden's like, hey, we're gonna go on a full frontal assault with just 2 guys. Are you good? And he's like, absolutely. Infinite ammo. He also writes comedies sometimes. So, remember how we regret the death of our friend Liquid? So this is Liquid Ocelot. Now, some of you may be going, hey, wait a minute. Isn't that Ocelot from this game? No, this is Ocelot from this game. So this is, in the first game, Ocelot got his arm cut off by a cyborg ninja, normal shit that happens every day. And in the second game, it's revealed that he took Liquid's arm, grafted it on his body, and he is possessed by Liquid Snake. Hence the name Liquid Ocelot. Working with the Patriots about AI or some stuff about memes ruining the world actually has a point here. Play the game. You're gonna learn. You're gonna see this Ocelot fella a lot. Just know, it should have been Liquid. So that's Metal Gear Solid 2. Now we're gonna talk about Naked Snake. You guys heard about this guy. He is the man that started it all. So in the canon of Metal Gear timeline, Metal Gear 3 is canonically the first story within the franchise. If you're one of those Star Wars guys that watches Episode 1 first versus Episode 4, this is the game for you. There is a Delta remake that's coming out. Oh no. They still haven't released an official release date. They've said 2025, and then no other details. But we have pachinko of this game, so Hideo Kojima, lover of pachinko. So his real name is John. Naked due to not going in with any equipment. So the codename that he is given is Naked because this is a stealth mission that we don't want to know that America is involved in. So we need to go in with no American equipment. Everything is OSP, or obtain secure on-site procurement. Thank you. Got the abbreviation. Okay. So everything is on-site procurement, so that way there's literally as little evidence as possible tying this to America. He's also a Cold War hero. We'll get to that. And he eats snakes. So in Metal Gear Solid 3, they introduced a stamina bar that you have to eat to kind of maintain it. In the other games prior to this, it was just a health bar system. So in this one, you actively have to eat food because you're surviving, kind of like Minecraft, a game that he's not in, honestly. But his mentor was the boss. Not Big Boss, the boss. Big Boss, the boss. More on this guy later. The Metal Gear in this game is Shagohod. Shagohod. S-A-G Hod. So this is, I don't really fully remember. Yeah, no, this guy is nuclear capable. So this is done by the Russians, and the second half of the game becomes stopping this guy. This is the boss. Not like the final boss of Metal Gear Solid 3, but like the best at what she does. She's also the final boss of Metal Gear Solid 3. Pretty nasty snake-shaped scar, right? So this scar is actually from a C-section during D-Day as it was happening. Why did they go up that high for a C-section? Hideo Kojima, loving feminist. Now, this is where we're going to start into getting into spoiler territory for Metal Gear Solid 3. So some of you may be thinking, wow, why is he talking about a C-section during D-Day? What's a more tragic character than that? Oh, yeah, it's this guy. So this is the boss's kid. This is Revolver Ocelot. Not the Ocelot that we saw before, but not the other one that we saw that was possessed by an arm, but this is the OG. This originally came from a Google Slide presentation, and when I moved it over, I had a sound clip. Oh yeah, I realized you can't see it. I had a sound clip of him going, meow. I don't have it in the presentation, but I hope this works. So this is why he's called Ocelot. I'll play that again for the people out back. That is him getting his comrades' attention by going, rawr. Very serious games about war and politics. So he's the boss's kid from a C-section during D-Day. She's got infinite bullets because her gun's magazine is shaped in an infinity symbol. And she is an American hero. This is another fun spoiler. For those who know, you know. Oh, no, go back. Go back. You should have autoplayed. Are you going to autoplay? Dude, don't do this to me. Autoplay. There it is. Let's go.
There's only room for one boss and one snake.
So he turned into Big Boss. So what happens is you have to kill the boss because within Metal Gear Solid 3, she basically defects from America, being like one of America's top-ranked soldiers, to defecting over to the Russians with 2 Davy Crockett nuclear-capable missiles. One of those gets used almost immediately on a Russian property, on a Russian facility, and of course the Russians are like, America, how could you do this? How could you send someone so powerful? And America's like, we'll take care of it, That. And in doing so, you inherit the title of boss, becoming Big Boss. Hey, we heard about this guy. So he's also still referred to as Snake. The Naked Snake that we talked about before, this is still him. So this is Naked Snake, this is Big Boss. We're with each other so far. Cool. He's now considered the best soldier in the world. It's like, it's just, you got him. He is the head of the Militaire Sans Frontières, or the MSF. The idea with that is it is a military without borders, basically adding power to themselves. And he tasked in Peace Walker, the game here. I'm not 100% sure where you can legally play this game. I played it on the Xbox 360 and PS3. They had a collection featuring Metal Gear Solid 2, 3, and Peace Walker. That is the best way I know how to handle getting it. If you have a PSP, you can play that. Yeah, just buy an old Xbox. You know, it's fine. They work forever. So this game gave us the first look of Mother Base and FOBs, Forward Operating Bases. The idea here is you basically start to build up an army through this game. He also canonically believes in Santa Claus. Play the game. 50 Shades of Cardboard Box. So in this game introduced a cardboard box tank, a cardboard box that you kiss people in, and just like all sorts of different uses for cardboard boxes. He also hates AI. That cardboard box, I am so sorry I couldn't find a better screenshot. This is the cardboard box that you kiss in. Yeah, don't look at the top right. Don't worry about it. We're not going to talk about it. Hideo Kojima, Age of Consent. So these are some of the Metal Gears that you face off in Peace Walker. You have Chrysalis, Cocoon, and Pupa. Then you have Metal Gear Zeke with the Peace Walker AI. The main premise here is nuclear deterrence is the best kind of deterrence, but humans are at fault. AI can do it better. Again, play the game. It's a good game. Solid Snake has gotten old. This is Metal Gear Solid 4. This is Old Snake. He's also voiced by David Hayter. He aged quickly due to being a clone. He got in a microwave to save the world. Fun fact about that, after 65 seconds of being inside of a microwave, your scrotum explodes. Everyone with a timer app, I would like you to break it out right now and start the timer when the next video starts playing. Hideo Kojima, scrotum expert. So once the door opens, please start your timer. That is a hallway filled with microwaves.
Saturated with microwaves. The longer you stay in there, the greater damage you'll do. Get through there as quickly as possible.
Now, the Metal Gear franchise really loves to give you these long, drawn-out scenes that really make you feel the struggle with the characters. But I don't fully know if that struggle is supposed to be an exploding scrotum. Once he crosses the threshold here, please take a look. You're going to see two little explosions. If you know, you know. How are those timers looking? About 65 seconds, right? So, this is Old Snake. He no longer has a scrotum. He fights cow-sounding robots to save the world and physically has disgusted a doctor that one time. So there's a doctor that he used to be comrades with that gave him like basically a physical. He has nanomachines. He has nanomachines inside of his body that kill people that have other nanomachines like his, and his nanomachines are mutating to the point that he will kill everybody. Don't worry about it. So those cow-sounding robots are geckos. Geckos are basically small personnel units. So they're thick. So this is basically to fight other soldiers. Metal Gear Solid 4 is basically just war, war, war. Hey, everybody remember that Ocelot guy? That's his cool arm. So that was Liquid. This isn't pictured. That's Solid Snake going, Liquid! He wasn't actually possessed, but self-hypnotized to think he was possessed, as well as nanomachines to help speed up the process of said hypnotism. You know, why not? Successfully stopped gun violence, guys. He did it. Let's go. And also, he did this that one time. That is the literal final fight of the game. Yo, let's go! This is Raiden! My dreams came true! He says, Doctor! So this is Raiden. This is the Snake Raiden VR clone that we saw before. He is so this game, Metal Gear Revengeance, down there, it's a departure from the typical tactical stealth format. There is still stealth in this game, but it's a lot more akin to Devil May Cry. Canonically, the last game in the Metal Gear franchise. This takes place after Metal Gear Solid 4, where basically like all of the guns get turned off, and now everybody's fighting with swords. He is fueled shrimply by vengeance. So you're basically getting like a mini boss at the beginning of the game that cuts off your arm. You go, not again. And he gets cybernetic enhancements, and he's basically fighting to get revenge against those people. Also for killing a prime minister. He's a hero to all children everywhere, because what's worse than growing up as a child soldier is saving them. No, that's better. He's also a villain to all politicians. Meet Senator Armstrong. War never changes. Wants the world to go back to war ever since Metal Gear Solid 4. He is looking for trouble in all the right places, such as killing a lot of American soldiers in Iraq and assassinating the president. And he looks kind of tough, right? He is the final boss of Metal Gear Revengeance. He's a senator. Why is he so strong? Nanomachines, son. So the Metal Gear in this game is, oh god, this is a long note, is this guy, Excelsius. So Metal Gear Excelsius wasn't necessarily built to be a nuclear deterrent, because nuclear deterrent means the end of war. Metal Gear Solid 4 and Revengeance is all about the continuing of war, and why war never changes, and war is profitable, war is good. So unlike the other Metal Gears, this is intended to kill. This is set to kill to 11. So this is meant to be a more marketable Metal Gear. Now, Metal Gear Solid 5, this is Big Boss Round 2. Still Snake, referred to as Naked Snake. He's still the world leader of MSF. He takes prisoners, rescues his creator, and loves cranking his hog. So he's got a motorcycle, of course, just ride off on it. He also has one really hot boyfriend. Now, with Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zero, the idea with this game is it was kind of a tech demo of the Fox engine. So Kojima worked with Konami on the Fox engine, and it was the whole new way to play Metal Gear. You went from fixed camera angles and a little bit more in the modern age of third-person shooter. Metal Gear Solid 4 also had a little bit of that, but this is like really groundbreaking modern age gaming. There's no Metal Gears in this game. So this is one of the only canonical Metal Gear games that doesn't actually have one. But now we get to talk about Big Boss Round 3. Still the world leader of MSF, now has 2 really hot boyfriends and a girlfriend. Still Snake, had a bit of an oopsie doodle. So he was in a helicopter accident. The helicopter next to him kind of just said, got hit by a rocket, crashed into it, and those are shards of the helicopter in his head. They can't be removed because it's in his skull and brain. Not good. He was the first vape user. So there's an item in the game called Phantom Cigar that progresses time. So this is more of an open world game where you can kind of explore different areas, Afghanistan and Africa. and you sometimes are sometimes dropped during the day, and you're like, too bright. I'm gonna smoke till it's nighttime, and you're just standing there, just whoa. They even made the vapors digital as well to not set off the guards. These are his two boyfriends. So we've got Ocelot and Kazuhira Miller. This was the first boyfriend. And his girlfriend, her name's Quiet. You may be asking, wow, that's a lot of skin showing for a military aide. She breathes through her skin, drinks through her skin, and is photosynthesis, my favorite plant. This is Metal Gear Sahelanthropus. Sahelanthropus. S-A-Lanthropus. This is a bipedal Gundam. This is a Metal Gear that was created just, again, Agent of War. Cause mayhem. This is what I would consider the biggest, second biggest, the boss. Spoiler that I'm going to say within this panel. This is the big twist of Metal Gear Solid 5, both Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain. This is Venom Snake. Venom Snake is the big boss that we saw in round 3, but a completely different person. The whole life was taken from him. His whole story is how to explain how Big Boss survived in the first death in Metal Gear 1. So you kill Big Boss in Metal Gear 1. Metal Gear 2, Big Boss is the final enemy again, and everybody went, okay, come on, like, we get it, you kind of need the Deus Ex Machina. Hideo said, this is why. We're going to drop a couple $1 million, and we're going to make a whole nother Snake. So the whole point with Venom Snake is that helicopter accident, you were actually, Big Boss, was shielded by a medic in that helicopter with you, and the medic is the one with the impalement in his forehead. Big Boss was then sent off to go do his own thing under the guise that no one was watching him, they were watching Venom. One of his boyfriends also hypnotized himself into liking him. Can you take a guess which one? The one that maybe cut off his arm, got his arm cut off, normal shit that happens every day. So this is Big Boss. So you can call me Ishmael. If you play the first bit of Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain, you'll see this guy. That's Big Boss. So he's been watching over you for 9 years. I forgot, you were in a coma for 9 years. You get to listen to a unskippable 15-minute cutscene where a doctor goes, "Look up, please." And in a comatose muscle dystrophy body, you just very slowly, good, look down. Great tutorial to do twice. If you know, you know. You know. Normal shit that happens every day. This is a flaming whale taking out an enemy combatant helicopter at the beginning of the game. So many components here that I can't explain, but you need to play the third game to know that it's that villain. You need to play the first game to know that it's that villain. You also need to just, continue playing all the Metal Gears because they're a great game. So, unfortunately, that is all of the snakes that I have to talk about. But now we're getting into my favorite section, the honorable mention snakes. First up, we have a literal coral snake. In my research, I just got tired. It was 3 a.m. and I looked up other snakes in Metal Gear Solid franchise, and I got all the ones that I had done research on, except this funny little guy right here. So, just so you know, red and black, venom lack. Red and yellow, kill a fellow. Next up, we have Solid Snake from Lobito Island. This is from Metal Gear Acid. I don't remember what console this one is on, but PSP, buy it for 2 of the games. So this is an alternate version of the canonical Solid Snake This snake led a similar life to the original. So when we saw Solid Snake at the beginning of the presentation, this is the same guy. This is Snake from Metal Gear Acid 2. He is a clone of Solid Snake this time around from the previous game. So it was mentioned that Snake's body, Solid Snake, was recovered from Lobedo Island. And he was still alive and well, and they just made a clone of this guy. If you've ever played, what's that Kingdom Hearts game where you fight with cards? Chain of Memories. Basically kind of the same idea, but Metal Gear. So it's a very experimental game, and a lot of people loved it. A lot of people didn't vibe with it. Definitely there's like a bunch of YouTube playthroughs online, so give it a shot. Next up, we have Mia from Monster Monsume. She's got the box, and she's got the bandana, she's got the whole fit. And I heard it earlier. Peepo Snake from Metal Gear Solid. So Hideo Kojima wanted to play Metal Gear with his son. And of course, it's a very it's M-rated games. You know, it has a lot of complex themes. So he reached out to the creator of Ape Escape and said, what if we did a cute little collab where I'll put a game in your game and you put a game in my game? So if you have Metal Gear Solid 3, one of the original copies on the PS2, you will have a version of Metal Gear where you basically are given a time trial to tranquilize the monkeys within Ape Escape. If you have a copy of Ape Escape 3, you will unlock a minigame, which is a literal campaign going through some of the stories of Metal Gear, but it's Metal Gear. This screenshot down here is Ocelot beating up actual naked Snake in Ape Escape 3. This is the ending cutscene of that game.
So you're an agent, huh? Sure are one brave little monkey. Pretty sharp eyes you've got there. Anyway, I guess we brought the world back from the brink of catastrophe, and it was all due to you. By the way, we haven't been properly introduced yet. I'm Snake. You can call me that from now on. And you? Interesting. A pair of snakes. Nice to meet you, Snake. I think we're going to get along just fine. Okay. I'm off to Colonel Campbell's place to report on the mission. What are you going to do now? Is that right? Well, I guess that's the way it goes. We'll probably meet again somewhere.
Hideo Kojima, lover of monkeys.
The end.
And that is all of the snakes that I have to talk about. So thank you for coming to this panel. I hope I've either convinced you to play the Metal Gear franchise, or we laughed along and learned about Ape Escape and other snakes and Oculus Quests. Thank you all for coming. Don't forget the panel after this is also Metal Gear related, so now that you have the information, stick around to use it. I'm going to end that just like the video. Ha!